All right, things are going crazy in here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that is some chicken. It's actually insane how much pizza oven technology has advanced in the last 5 years, to the point where it's possible for people like you and me, just regular home cooks, to be banging out incredible restaurant style pizzas at home. Oh my God. And although one of these is gonna be a fraction of the cost of an actual wood-fired brick oven, it's still an investment no matter how you cut it. So the goal of today is to really see how far we can push this thing. So I'm gonna be testing out 5 different foods, all of which are not pizza, including this thing right here. Like, what happens when you take a beautiful ribeye and you toss it in a pizza oven? Well, stay tuned to find out. All right, first up is gonna be the most obvious thing going in this pizza oven today. What is a pizza without the sauce and cheese? Well, it's just a flatbread or a pita. But I will say, one of my most life-changing culinary moments was when I got fresh pita at this restaurant called Shaya in New Orleans that came straight out of a pizza oven. Wood-fired, puffed up to perfection. That was one of those moments where I truly understood the full potential of bread and questioned every completely shit pita that I had before that. So what I did here was whipped up some pita dough, and you've seen this so many times on this channel. This is just my standard overnight pizza oven recipe, which is down in the description. 500 grams of flour, 2 grams or 1 teaspoon of yeast, 10 grams of salt, 325 grams of water. Mix that up, and then over the next 2 hours, do some nice stretch and folds until it's beautifully smooth and we built that gluten structure. And then I let the dough ferment overnight in the fridge until it's doubled in size. And then this morning, I formed these mini little dough balls, which we will now roll out and hopefully get some puffy pita. Little flour, start with one of these, flip it, pat it out a little bit, and then just give it a little roll. And just because we're rolling this flat doesn't mean it's gonna take away the puff. All of that fermentation and gluten structure that you've built, that's what's gonna create the puff. There we go. So the oven is preheated. I'm just gonna toss that right in there. We'll see what happens. We should be able to get a live action puffage. Starting to go. Shouldn't take long at all with a super hot oven. Starting to go, starting to go. The question is, whoa, here we go, whoa. Oh my God, that is sick. That is sick. Oh, that is this, wow, I've never seen that just live like that. That's incredible. Probably just another 30 seconds until it browns and we're good. You don't want to overcook your pita, that's for sure. Let's see. Oh my pocket of heaven. It's just a thing of beauty. Gluten in action right there. You want to see something more beautiful? Steam bath. Overnight fermented dough turned into pita pocket. Wow. When bread is perfect like this, you can enjoy it with nothing. But that was not the purpose of these pitas. The real reason I'm starting off with this is because there's like 5 more recipes where fresh bread is an essential pairing. So let's move on. Can you say flame grilled steak? This one I'm probably the most, I would say, intrigued because I have high hopes. I have high hopes, but I'm also skeptical at the same time. What happens when you throw a beautiful steak in the pizza oven? So right here I have a beautiful grass-fed ribeye. First thing I did was make sure it was nice and dry. And for a chunk of meat this size, I generally will dry brine it overnight. So I just gave it a nice coating of salt and pepper on all sides, popped it on a rack so I get that nice complete airflow throughout, and put it in the fridge overnight. And this is what we're left with. You can see it's a little more tacky. It's just slightly cured, seasoned completely through, and also we should get a better crust. So now all I'm gonna do is take the rack off, see a rack, and hit it with a little bit of oil. I'm using some grapeseed oil because we are really heating this baby up. Doesn't need much, just a little coating. Now this right here, it's actually a cast iron plate that Uni sells, which is a really nice option to go right in your pizza oven to cook things like this, which I think, oh, look at that sight. Could it fit more perfect? All right, take it off the plate here. And now for this one, I can actually turn it, which is exciting. All right, we'll pop that close to the back so we get the most heat. Here we go. All right, I hear the sizzle. Oh yeah, it's just like an insane broiler in there. Wow. All right, I'm gonna let it get as crispy as possible on that side before we turn it. Oh my God, that looks insane. I just realized I don't have tongs. Can I turn it with this knife maybe? Oh, you know what? It's getting a decent char on that side. I do not want to overcook that. A little nervous. Back in. All right, let's pull it. Oh! Look at that. Certainly rendered off a ton of fat. Just hope it's not overcooked. Well, let's get it off this thing so it doesn't overcook. Oh my God. Let's go. So the actual crust is like a 10 out of 10. Better than I even expected. Please, dear God, don't be overcooked. Good sign. Not the most even cook, you can see. Like, we're cooked through, we've got a nice medium on the inside, but it goes like pretty quickly from this intense gray to this medium. It's not a super even medium rare. Yeah, like that's our side angle. Let's give it a try. Wow, fuck, that was good. Oh my God. It's one of the best tasting steaks I've had, at least in the last year. That's all my brain can remember at this point. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 because we didn't get perfect evenness, because we're kind of just broiling heavy on both sides. The way it rendered the fat while still keeping the juiciness, it's unreal. All right, success. Moving on. Now, one thing that just seems like it makes a whole bunch of sense are vegetables in here. Like, why not? Flame roasted veggies. So I'm trying out both carrots and potatoes. And whenever I'm grilling up veggies, I always like to do a little bit of prep, just a little pre-cooking to give them a head start. So for the potatoes, I'm gonna cut them up into just like steak fry little chunks. I'm gonna toss them into some boiling water and cook them just till they're fork tender. Drain those right into a bowl, hit them with just a little bit of olive oil. And now I'm gonna hit them with a little bit of salt. Toss, 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 toss. Not to mention, they're going right on this platter. I'm just gonna keep on all of that fat on the bottom from the steak. And let's see if these things get crispy. All right, let's give it a peek. Oh, nice. Getting nice and toasted. Definitely some burn ends on there, but that's to be expected. Oh, what I should be doing is turning that. Let that keep going. I just added some wood and this thing is like ripping now. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, we should get those out. Ah. Wow. So obviously a bit of char, but that is to be expected. And I don't have a problem with char like this on a pizza, on anything, when it's coming from real flames. Some people will look at that as burnt. I'm fine with a little wood-fired flavor. But some of these are really nice and golden. All in the taste test. Still don't have a fork, but I've got a skewer for the next recipe. It's got like a really crispy one. And I didn't bother to turn them, as you can see with that side. But as long as we've got a little crispy, I'm fine with it. Ketchup. Steak fries for the win. I will definitely be doing that again. Especially making these in the same pan as the steak. That is a perfect steak fry. My only improvement would be turning them, but I'm making like 10 things today, so too lazy for that. All right, so I'm gonna get these off. That was a win. Now let's try these carrots, which were harvested from my garden. And what I did was I just sliced them up into equal sizes, similar to the steak fries. I'm gonna toss them into some boiling water and cook them just till they're fork tender. But these I coated with a little bit of honey and then some olive oil to give them that honey glaze. A little bit of salt, plop, plop, plop. Same pan. Keep it rolling. Now, seeing the success of the steak fry, I have extremely high hopes for these honey roasted carrots. See you in a second. All right, so this one I just let roll for like 6 minutes. Didn't turn. Fajitas. Yeah, so they're nice and soft because they were obviously part cooked. A little more burnt, probably because of the honey. So the honey is great flavor, but definitely created more burn. Like, yeah, much more burn. Those are like a 7 out of 10. I imagine they would actually be a little better in there, but they don't quite compare to those steak fries, which were a 10 out of 10. Those were incredible. So with the honey roasted carrots, I would probably just stick to the regular oven. Well, I mean, it's up to you. They're still good. So honestly, today was a big experiment, but I'm already starting to get such a better feel for what works in a pizza oven. And this next one, I now have very high hopes. So I wanted to do some type of tandoori inspired chicken skewer. So I've got a pack of chicken thighs with the bone in and the skin on. And first I dried off the chicken thighs, then I deboned them, saved those for some stock. And since I'm gonna skewer them up, I just cut the chicken into little bite-sized pieces. Now let's make a marinade. Again, Not traditional, it's just what I have available and what I'm inspired by. I'm gonna whip out the mortar and pestle, add some cumin seeds, some coriander seeds, and some dried oregano, and I'll just give that a rough grind. And then I'll microplane in some fresh ginger, a little bit of fresh turmeric, which I actually found at the farmer's market this week, 1 clove of garlic, and a little spicy chili pepper from my garden. I'll add in some fresh paprika, a hit of some white vinegar, along with some olive oil and some yogurt, and finally some salt, and I'll just mix that up, add it to the chicken, get it nice and coated, and let that marinate and really tenderize overnight. Hey, we got it. Come on. Come on. Ah, yes. And this is what I have right here. It looks beautiful. I'm just going to skewer these up. I probably will just do 2 nice fat skewers to start. There's one. Pop that right on there. Dose. I'll save that for later. So I'll slide these in, and I will go get some tongs because I'm gonna need to flip those a few times. All right, things are going crazy in here. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, that is some chicken. We'll let that go. I probably just need to turn it once, but I want it to get more crispy. See you soon. All right, let's flip it. We're officially at like innovation level, my friend. Oh my God, and actually the bottom, you know what? We don't even need to flip. The bottom at this point is getting just as crispy. We'll just let that go a little longer. Holy. All right, let's do this thing. Oh my goodness. I don't think you can get a better char. We've got that nice browning with just some of those crispy bits. I told you I had a good feeling about this one. You know we gotta bring in some pita. We'll take this, we'll pop a few of them off right into there, a little pita sandwich. Chicken thigh is definitely the way to go. You do not want to be worrying about overcooking chicken breasts with 700-degree heat. By the way, this thing right here, I've told you before, the Uni Karu 16, by far my favorite pizza oven ever made. You've seen the iterations of Uni over the years, and they just nailed it with pretty much every element of this oven. And what I am showing today is that this is more than a pizza oven. I mean, look at this. That's like better than a goddamn grill. So now finally we are doing something totally different, which is baking in the pizza oven. I've never tried this before, but it's the perfect time to do it since we've used up all that high heat and that wood is dying down. We've got a more mild heat. And yesterday I prepared this apple crumble, which was pretty simple. I started off with a bunch of apples, of course. These are Honeycrisp. I peeled them, sliced them off the core into little chunks, got them in a water bath with a little bit of vinegar so they wouldn't oxidize. And then to a pan, I added a chunk of butter, drained off those apple slices, added them in, along with some flour, a little bit of vanilla extract, a sprinkle of cinnamon. I used some honey for my sweetener, but of course you can use regular sugar. And then I stirred that around a little bit and added some water just to help it all cook down. And I just cooked that on a medium-low heat until those apples really stewed down a bit and everything caramelized and turned a nice, beautiful golden caramely color. And the crumble was really simple. I added half a cup of oats, half a cup of flour, half a cup of coconut sugar, and then a few tablespoons of butter chopped up at room temperature. And I just mixed that up with my hands until I got a nice crumbly texture. I added all my apples to a mini cast iron pan and packed on that crumble topping, and here we go. So our oven's still reading 500 degrees Fahrenheit because we still have a lot of residual heat on that stone, which is good. I'm gonna pop that in there, and right now you can see there's really no flame. I don't wanna burn the top. And the apples, of course, are already cooked, so really we just wanna heat everything up and get a nice browning on that crumble. All right, let's take a look. So you can see a bit charred, but like start like these edges. Ugh. I'm kind of an idiot because of course if I'm cooking this at 500 degrees, which it started at, the top is gonna burn. It's a frickin' pie. So as that temp is lowering a bit, it's starting to cook just so much more evenly, and it's a beautiful sight. But those 500 temps burn those sugars a bit on the top. Here we go. Now this right here, some honey whipped cream. I had some heavy cream in the fridge, so I just popped that in a bowl, whipped it up, added some honey, and that's all she wrote. Let's see. Fire roasted apple crumble as the late afternoon sun peeks in. Now, if things go as planned, you should be seeing this video the day before Thanksgiving. So hey, who knows? Maybe I inspired you to throw some baked goods in your pizza oven over the next few days. Wow. Wow. That's one of the better things I've ever tasted. Listen, I'm not a pro baker, and that is freaking like, ugh, melt in your mouth glorious. I will say if I managed that heat a bit better and lowered that char rate to like 10 to 15%, this would be one of the best pies I've ever tasted. I went into this video with a pretty experimental mindset, not having tried much outside of pizza in this thing. And it is clear that there is much more you can do than just make pizza in your pizza oven. So unleash your creativity. You don't just have to make pizza. Get creative. I'll see you in the next video.